What's up YouTube, Jeff back from SammyGuru here, and today another very exciting Samsung video for you guys. Today I have the brand new Galaxy S25 Edge, which hits the stores tomorrow. People who got their pre-orders in should be receiving it today. Now this is actually a unit Samsung sent out to me for review, so huge shout out to them. I do appreciate that. But I also got my review unit, or not my review unit, rather, this is the review unit. I got my retail unit as well today, and so I'm going to show you guys the blue color in this video, and I also got the Galaxy S25 Edge kind suitcase that I ordered with my retail unit. So we'll take a look at that and give you guys some initial impressions. So I've been using the review unit for about 48 hours, so I can speak a little bit to battery life and some other things. Before we do get into that though, I do want to remind you guys, make sure you check out the website, SammyGuru.com, covering the latest Samsung news, tips, tricks, tutorials, and reviews. You guys may have noticed if you viewed the website in the last few days, we got a brand new redesign. The slider is brand new here. It's a brand new text. It's larger. It's got this arrow that points down into the popular post carousel, where you guys will find our most popular posts at any given time, so you can find relevant information. Latest news categories have been redesigned, and also our individual news cards have been redesigned. Of course, you can still get in our mystery box program. If you tap on the orange at the top, you'll get our free case, cleaning kit, desktop phone stand. The S25 Edge closes actually today. If you want to get in that, if you still want to order one, it's the last day. Z Fold 7, Z Flip 7, Watch 8 series right there are all open. That'll be in July, so if you sign up, you'll get the link. You order through our link, and then you get all those free accessories. We cover the shipping and everything using our affiliate revenue. Now, the Galaxy S26 series will start opening probably tomorrow when the S25 Edge closes, so if you guys want to get in that very early, you can. The link's in the pinned comment and description below. So, S25 Edge, I did a hands-on in New York that Samsung invited me to. You guys saw the pictures on our website. You can see here's the S25 Ultra versus the Edge. There you guys can see the difference between the Edge and the Ultra. It's not quite half as wide, but it's a very, very noticeable difference between the two. That's the one thing I would say about the Edge, is obviously the appeal is in the thinness of the device. That's the entire appeal of it. And because of that, you know, if you're buying this, you really have to want to trade off those extra cameras that you're getting on the Ultra, the S Pen, the extra battery life, and I'll talk about some of my experience there in a second. Better thermals for sure for this thin profile. But it is really something once you hold it in the hand. I also do like the camera module here a little bit better, the design, just the general look of it versus those kind of faux camera rings that are on the S25 Ultra. A little more natural look on the Edge. I'm definitely a fan of that. In terms of the industrial design build quality, I mean, this thing is super solid. I don't really feel like it's going to snap or bend or any of that kind of crazy stuff that we sometimes worry about when you have a thinner device. You can see it's so thin that actually when I go this way, the camera is trying to not focus on this. It's trying to focus on the stuff that's in the outer frames, even though I have the focus area set to the middle. So let's talk a little bit about performance. Performance, you know, it's got the same processor as the rest of the S25 series. Performance has been fine. I will say that I tried it on standard performance profile in the very beginning for a little while, and it does run a little warm if you're doing a lot of multitasking and stuff like that. So I would say that if you're going to be doing a lot of multitasking, those kind of things, that you probably want to switch it to the light performance profile, because thermals with all that, you know, less space in there, it's just natural that there's going to be a little less performance, a little bit more heating going on with the Edge. Of course, once I do a couple weeks with it, I'll do a full review at SammyGuru, do a full written review, but I do recommend switching into light performance profile if you buy this phone and you're not going to be doing a lot of heavy stuff, because of course gaming is not affected anyway. Now, in terms of battery life, the battery life is not as bad as I thought it would be, but given the small cell that is in this phone, you cannot expect crazy battery life. I would say the first 2 days, I was around 15% around 5:30 p.m. I just charged this one this morning here so I could make the video. I've already lost 13% in like a little over an hour. This thing does drain pretty fast if you're doing a lot of tasks. You're probably going to need to charge at some point throughout the day. I usually am around 45 to 50% around 5 p.m. in my S25 Ultra. So you can see about 35% less with the same general usage on the Edge. Now I am going to switch my main SIM. Since this was a review unit, I had a SIM in it that Samsung provided. I'll switch my main SIM from my Ultra to the Edge for 2 weeks to do the review, and we'll see. It could potentially be even worse once we get there. Now, camera quality, I haven't really had a chance to dive into this fully because obviously I've only had it for 2 days, but my initial impressions are very good from the main camera, which makes sense because it is, you know, this 200 megapixel sensor that we come to expect from the S25 Ultra. I will do some zoom shots because, of course, one of the main concerns that I have in terms of, you know, becoming a pro user using this particular camera is you only have, you know, up to the 2 times zoom here on the optical side. You can go 4 and 10, but those are not optical zooms, so you're theoretically getting some lower quality. Now, Ice Universe and some others took some photos, and you know, they said that the quality is actually quite good. I did take some photos of my boys and things like that, just out and about. The general photo quality on the main sensor is great, and I will do some more investigating when it comes to that zoom sensor. But that's my main concern, is that particular sensor if you're a pro user. Of course, you also lose the S Pen, and there's no way they're ever going to get an S Pen in here because basically this phone is only as wide as the USB-C port. There you go, you can see here, if you lay the S Pen like this, the edge is basically just as wide as the S Pen. So you're definitely never going to get an S Pen inside this Edge phone, but you know, if that's not something that matters to you, then maybe that's not a huge deal. Let's bring in here the blue color real quick. There's really nothing in the box. You know, unboxings are kind of a thing of the past because there's really not much in there, right? Of course, we don't get a charger, we just got a cable. There's no case or anything in there from Samsung, but here's the blue versus the silver. And I personally like the blue. That's what I went with on my retail unit. I got the 512 gig just because I use my phones a lot, obviously, for work. You don't see the Samsung logo as prevalently on the blue either. It's a slightly different shade of blue than the S25 Ultra Blue that released. This is titanium icy blue. And then let me just rip into this case really quickly, and we can take a look at that too. This case, it's right there. Kind suitcase was actually surprisingly a hit. I wasn't sure it was going to be great on the Ultra, but it surprisingly was very good. This kind suitcase is a little different though, because one thing that you notice immediately is that the bottom is actually fully opened here on this device. So you can see the Ultra, it's not. It's actually, it's a piece of it's not leather, but there's a piece of going across the bottom of the material. So if you actually compare though, let's compare the case on the Edge versus the Ultra, and you're looking at probably around almost the same thickness if you put this case on your Edge versus if you have the Ultra with no case. So that could make a big difference. It's still very equally as light. It's lighter, even with the case on there. And this case does look very nice. So I would recommend it if you want a first-party Samsung case. Obviously, I still need to set this particular phone up, and I'll do that in a bit. Anyway, I will have a full review. Wanted to share some thoughts since it came out. I didn't get my review unit until pretty late, so unfortunately this is the earliest I could make a video, but I wanted to share some thoughts with you guys. Battery life is definitely a concern. If you're not a heavy user, maybe the thermals aren't such a big concern, but the battery life I think is going to be a concern. For even more average users, you're probably going to need to carry around a portable charger. But if you literally love the lightness, I mean, for a phone this screen size, you really should hold it in your hand just to see if it's something you might like, because it is pretty impressive, and you might decide that you never want to go back, because the S25 Ultra definitely feels very weighty in the hand by comparison. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe to the notification icon for future videos like this. Check out the link in the pinned comment description for the mystery boxes, the website. Check back every day for great Samsung news at SammyGuru. Let me know what you guys think of the homepage redesign as well. We worked hard on that, so we're pretty proud of it. Appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.